You do not get to determine the timeline on which I learn about world events. I'm already getting stitches and comments on my last video about how me not taking a stance on this thing I don't feel like I've educated myself on enough yet. 2 weeks is enough time, okay? You scroll on TikTok, you'll learn everything you need to know. Somebody actually unironically said that. Yeah, I am a disabled veteran who has brain damage. I had got brain damage in the war. I was blown up. I was within range of an explosive inside of a truck. The pressure waves bounced around inside the truck and bounced around inside my noodle. And that caused me to not have my brain work so great sometimes. I also have substantial post-traumatic stress disorder. So substantial that multiple judges, wearing robes, banging a gavel, said on behalf of the government that I was too messed up to hold down a job. Yeah. So if I can't work, and sometimes my brain no worky so good, especially when triggered by things like, I don't know, war. Some of the most horrific war imagery I've seen outside of my own experiences there. Maybe that's why it's taken me a little longer than it might take somebody else to get up to speed on everything that's going on over there. And I'm so sorry that my platform that you think I have absolute control over, even though I don't, because it's an algorithmic based thing, and I want people to know I'm writing a book, and the algorithm never tells them that. What they tell them is whatever the algorithm wants to hear. But I have 1 million followers, so it's my obligation to know everything there is to know about everything going on around the world and tell them about it, especially because I'll side with whoever's mad at me ideologically, of course, because they're on the correct side. I'll take as long as I goddamn well please to educate myself on matters of war. Sit around all day picking up books about free will and the war I was in and wars I wasn't in from the perspective of other veterans, and books about why war. And I try to get it through this mush, this electronic soup that got blown up in one. And so I can't always get the electrons to fire down the neural pathways that they're supposed to be on. Oh, and also I have autism on top of all that. So I got to do it the dumbest way because I don't neural prune. My brain, it doesn't get rid of the useless pathways. So sometimes I just travel down them, just in a fugue state, like, and I come to suddenly and it's like, oh, I was brain damaging again. Darn that war that I can't understand. The one I was in. My part's not even in this big honking ass book because it was so damn long. And I barely understand that one. And you want me to be an expert on one I wasn't in that you all think that you're experts on because you flipped through some TikToks and watched a few YouTubes? I'm about to get outlandishly disrespectful if this continues, but I'm done. Okay? You don't get to determine the timeline on which I, the disabled veteran with brain damage, figures out wars and who or who isn't the good or bad guy. When I'm done with mine, maybe I'll be able to figure out another one. I'm so sorry that doesn't work out for you because you want to yell about it online and you want me to join your side. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stick in the place that nobody likes, being, hi, I'm a medic. I'm just here to pick up the pieces. Sorry. Screaming at me? What a waste of time. That's not gonna improve. Doesn't that show the lack of priorities? Why is that so much of this? Is finding creators who aren't making a strong enough stance on this war everybody's consistently getting wrong, and yelling at them. Is that going to solve things? Is that making those buildings more bomb resilient or those kids fed? I don't think it is. Whatever. Yell at me if you want. This book's really fascinating. Apparently this guy, not at the time was a Nazi, becomes one later in life. And then even later than that, he's like a scholar. And the whole time I'm like, what a weird perspective to be reading. And the foreword is like, well, he's not really political. He's just talking about World War I. And it's, I read All Quiet on the Western Front. That's about World War One. Is that wrong? Would you get mad at me for that because I'm reading and I also really identify with the guy? That feels weird. It feels weird when you're reading this book from the perspective of some child in Germany fighting in World War One, and you go, wow, that feels a lot like how it felt for me fighting in my war. And then you go, well, but that guy turned into a Nazi. So, woof. Although people argue about how much of a Nazi he was. He did join the military, but it seems like he joined just because he was like, well, I live here and we're at war and I love war. And then he went to France where he was just he hung out with other rich people. That was his role in the war because he was super old at that point. Fascinating guy. Oops! I went down on a tangent down the wrong neural pathway because, again, don't prune. And I talked about a book I was reading for too long instead of yelling like I had been planning to do. I'm going to go back to writing now. My own book about the war I was in. And then everyone can, yell at me for that. So leave me alone. I don't care. When I say I don't care, your words are very mean and they hurt me, but they're not going to change my mind. That's what I mean. I mean, I don't care to hear your arguments because they're falling on disabled ears. I don't. So stop saying them to me. You're just being mean. I'm learning as fast as I can. Go away.